If you own a DJI Ronin S gimbal, arguably one of the best and most popular gimbals on the market, why would you consider switching to something else? Well, I'm going to show you why I'm changing to a cheaper option, and I'm going to compare the two to show that popularity and cost isn't always the best. Hello, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gear reviews and tutorials. I'm also on Instagram, and if you head over there, you'll see behind the scenes, announcements and bloopers as well. So if you like seeing that sort of content, head over to the account and I'll see you there. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that I'm not telling you which gimbal is better. I'm just showing you which one is better for me and my style. It might be completely different to you, so please only choose the gimbal that's right for you based on what you need and your style. So basically this video is going to be about my reasons for switching from DJI back to Zhiyun, because I used to have the Zhiyun Crane 2 before the DJI Ronin SC, then I swapped to that for the Ronin S. When I first got the DJI, I felt like it never quite reacted to my movements very naturally, especially when you're like doing orbits around subjects like that and you've got to twist the gimbal for it to follow nice and smoothly. And I know you can go into the settings and change that, but it just wasn't very intuitive. And even after setting it up as good as I could, it still never felt quite right. I'd always get these jolts in the movement and it just never felt quite right. And I never had that trouble with the Zhiyun Crane 2. And then once I got the Weebill S, the first time I switched it on, that was never a problem and it felt so much more natural. This just feels a lot smoother without having to go into the settings. So that was reason number one really. It just never felt quite right, and it took a while to balance the gimbal as well. I just felt like the way that you moved the arms into position never felt really very smooth. While I'm talking about the arms, one thing that really bugs me is the fact that it doesn't have locks. So when you're carrying this about, that is spinning around all over the place. It's constantly bashing that arm against this little lever here. So it's starting to get chips there, and I'm gonna sell this, so it's not very good having little chips there. You don't want that swinging around while you're trying to carry it. Another reason why I wanted to try something else is because without spending a lot of money on arms and everything else, it was difficult to get a camera monitor in the right place. For example, when you've got this all set up, your camera's on top of here, obviously, but then if you want an external monitor, the monitor's all the way down here. Having to hold the camera at one level but then look at your monitor down here, it's really unnatural for a start. It's difficult to have the camera capturing something on one level, in one position, but then you're having to look at it on a different level. Does that make sense? And that brings me on to the form factor of the whole thing. Although the Crane 2 was a very similar form factor, or the same form factor, where you've got the camera on top and then it's just a stick that you hold underneath. They've since brought out other styles of gimbals like this one, where you've got the option of holding it above the camera for underslung mode. And that just makes it so much easier for really low down shots. So I really wanted to try something with this sort of form factor. And before, I always thought it was a bit gimmicky having something like that, but it's a necessity really for me personally. Now on the Weebill S, what you can do is take this stand off and use it as a handle here and screw it onto that part. You can use it like this. But so that you don't have to keep swapping all the time, I've actually got one of these small rig handles. It's here, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can have a look. But it's really cool because you just screw this onto there and you can keep your stand on the base. And it also locks in place as well because you've got these little holes on that section. Now we've got the option of having the stand at the bottom and a grip at the top. And we can close that stand up obviously. And we've got the option of holding this with 2 hands, and we can be more secure then. Not only that, but there's a cold shoe mount here that we can mount our monitor to. And that's where I put the monitor now. And that means that the monitor is at the exact same level as our camera. So it's much easier to see what's going on. There's so many benefits to this style of gimbal because, for example, on this one, if you're going forward like this for a shot, all of that weight then is here on this wrist, because imagine how heavy it is when you've got a camera on the end, and all of that weight is pushed to that side of the gimbal, and you can feel that strain on your wrist. And that just leads, although the motors might be really good in the DJI, that strain on your wrists and your arms, that's what leads to these wobbly shots. And if you're doing this all day, if you're filming all day, it becomes very difficult. And I've filmed back-to-back weddings. When you're filming all day with one of these and it's heavy, your body does feel it, and you start to get shakier shots throughout the day because you're just holding things like this all the time, and it's just not good. Whereas with this style, you've got one hand on one grip and one hand underneath, so they're supporting each other, and this is closer to where the weight of the camera is. So it's so much easier to hold. The Weebill S also comes with the locks. So as you can see, as I'm moving this around, it's not flapping about, it's not spinning around, it's staying perfectly in place, and that helps when you're trying to balance the thing as well. So if you just want it to, while you're balancing one of the arms, you can lock the other one until you need to balance that. It's so much easier, and you can condense it down really small so that it fits into your bag nicely. Look at that. And you can take these, obviously these handles off, and look at that. Look how small that is compared to that. It's tiny. So that can go in your bag and hardly take up any space. When you finish filming and you're on this gimbal, you might be walking to the next location or something, you have to hold the gimbal like this. You can't hold it down by your side. It flaps around like that, and with your camera on it, your lens is going to hit the frame and all sorts. It's just not very nice. So what you have to do is you have to carry it like this, and all that weight again is pushing down on your wrist, and it's just so tiring all day. With this, you've got that handle there, so when you walk into your next location, you can literally hold it down by your side like that, like you're carrying a bag, and it's so much easier. Just so many benefits to having this sort of form factor. Just little things like that make a huge difference, because it just means that you can film for longer in the day because it's not as straining. So when I decided to try something else and move away from the DJI line of gimbals, I looked into the Zhiyun. I think it was the Crane or the Lab, but I didn't want to go from something that was heavy already to another heavy option. I wanted the lightest possible option, because when you're filming all day, it gets really difficult to carry something really heavy around. Now, the Weebill S is extremely light. It's made out of plastic. It's not as well made as the DJI, and you can tell when you hold it in your hands, it's nowhere near. But that comes at a price. I mean, this is really well built, but it's heavy. And this is mostly made out of plastic, but it's super light. And if you're careful with these things, it doesn't matter. If you don't drop it, it's not going to break. So the weight of the Ronin S is nearly 2 kilograms, whereas the weight of the Weebill S is under 1 kilogram. So it's nearly half the weight. And when you're running around all day trying to film, this makes a huge difference. The motors are extremely, extremely strong in this, especially for the size. But that was one of the things. I wanted to make sure that it could hold the weight of a Canon EOS R and the lens choices that I would use. The payload of the DJI Ronin S is 3.6 kilograms according to the website, and the Weebill S's payload is 2.9 kilograms. There is a bit of a difference there. However, all you have to do is check the weight of your camera and your lens combination and make sure that it fits. Now there is another factor that plays a part in whether or not your camera and lens combination will fit on the gimbal or not, and that's the size. Because if you've got a really long lens on there's only so far you can move the camera back or forward to balance it. I've got the 15 to 35 RF lens, that fits on there perfectly, that's fine. The kit lens, the 24 to 105 will fit on there, the 50mm will fit on there, the 85 will fit on there. You probably won't get the 70 to 200 on there, but that's not because of the weight, that's the size. So really you can fit the most widely used lenses on to this gimbal without a problem. It's only that 70-200. Would you use, I mean, I probably wouldn't use that lens on a gimbal anyway. Now we know that it's going to take the weight of these lenses, it's a good option. And then you think, oh, I'm paying less, so is the battery life not going to be as good? No, in fact, it's better. DJI battery life is 12 hours, while the Weebill S is 14 hours. 14 hours for a little thing like that, it's incredible. The only thing that I don't like about the battery in this is that you take the rechargeable batteries out to charge them, but it comes with its own little charging dock thing that you put it in, so that's not a problem. I did just like how you plug this one in. Having said that, I've got a little charging station in the garage. I put all my chargers onto that board and just put the batteries in, and that's really easy, whereas this, I would have to find a separate socket for it and put it where I can either put it on a table or on the floor. So I probably do prefer this way of doing it actually. Another benefit to the Weebill S is that it's got a quick release plate, and that's separate from the main plate. So you've got two plates here, one that you put onto your camera and then another one that you put this on top of and make the adjustments to balance the camera on the gimbal. So if you need to swap from gimbal mode to handheld mode, you don't have to worry about rebalancing it again when you put the camera back onto the gimbal. It just slots straight back into the exact same place that it was before, and you're good to go. There, straight off like that. And you twist it in to lock it in place, and you know that's going nowhere. It's absolutely fine. Whereas this, every time you take the camera off, you're gonna have to rebalance it again. So that's just one of those things that can save you so much time when you're out filming. So anything to save you time, make things quicker, make things easier is a bonus. And all these little things add up. One of the most popular gimbals on the market, well built. However, all these little features that the Weebill S has, along with its size and its weight, make it such a good contender. They've both got vortex mode. Vortex mode on the Zhiyun lets it down a little bit. It's really slow and it feels like there's only really one speed it'll go. So it'd be nice to have more control over the speed of that rotation while you're capturing a shot. But luckily I don't really use it. I don't use that mode often, so it's not a deal breaker for me. If you use it a lot, then it might be worth just looking at some other options, because the joystick on the DJI works really well on vortex mode. You can control the speed. You can go really slow or you can go really fast with that. So vortex mode on the DJI is really good. So yeah, I mean, in my examples, you'll see that the gimbals themselves work really well. It just comes down to the ease of use. Because when I was doing these running shots, because of the form factor of the DJI, I was having to hold it out like this, and it's really heavy. So it's just not, or you have to hold it with two hands like that. And it just makes it really difficult to do those sorts of shots. So you're not gonna get as good smooth footage. Whereas this one, you can literally hold it like that and run. The low down to the ground shots, obviously with underslung mode and that handle up there, it means you can get a lot lower. And again, having something that's easier to hold makes your shots a lot more smoother as well. It's not just how good the gimbal is on its own. And you can get nice and low with this as well, but it's just not the same. You're holding all that weight underneath like this still. You're holding it like that as opposed to like a handle that's more natural for you. Personally, that's why I tried the Zhiyun Weebill S and I'm sticking with it as well. I'm gonna sell the DJI Ronin S. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed watching this little comparison. Let me know which one is your favourite, Let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. I like to hear what people are thinking. But yeah, again, I just want to say that, but this is my opinion. Things are going to work differently for you depending on your style and how you like to work. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell to get notified of future videos. And I think that's it. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a good week. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.